Being truly happy is an achievable state of mind. One only needs to be guided, and the rest is up to the individual to put into practice. Being truly happy does not only have positive effects on the body, but it also affects the condition of the mind. There are many scientific and natural therapy ways to achieve some level of happiness. With practice and conscious perseverance, it is possible to achieve almost complete true happiness. Here are some insights as to how to make this possibility a reality. Being a caring person also creates a level of happiness in an individual. The knowledge and satisfaction gained from being able to extend a helping hand is indeed gratifying. Doing voluntary work or simply spending time with people in need of companionship can and usually bring great mental rewards. Exercising regularly is also associated with a high degree of happiness. When the human body is running like a well-tuned engine, then all is well, and this is clearly shown in the individual's demeanor and state of mind. Happy people are almost always healthy people. The state of the mind ensures this. Having a hobby or goal that is fulfilling is also another way to focus on achieving happiness. Doing something on a daily basis that is not only enjoyable but also fulfilling brings about the general feeling of happiness and joy. For some people, being spiritually connected is being happy. Spiritual fulfillment helps an individual to be one with both body and mind, and this is achieved then the surroundings have little or no negative impact on their lives. Feelings are like an inner compass for any individual. In the quest to understanding one's feelings, the individual is better equipped to handle whatever comes into their life's path. Being in touch and acknowledging one's feeling also allows for the individual to explore these feelings and thus become more aware of what brings him or her true happiness. Starting the day on a positive note usually means the entire day will unfold in a positive way too. The positive mindset at the onset of a day plays a huge role in how the individual's day will unfold and how the individual will cope with the events of the day. Eating a hearty and healthy meal at the beginning of the day is always advisable. Most medical professionals insist that this ritual be practiced without deviation, as the first meal is very important in providing the energy for the rest of the day. Other daily rituals may include having a set routine that is comfortable and less likely to cause stress. Planning the day to ensure a smooth flow of activities is always better than running around aimlessly trying to get as many things done as possible. This is a good way to stay motivated, as each thing scheduled for the day gets done quickly and effectively. Working of something that one is passionate about gives the mind and body that extra boost needed to get the task done well and with a feeling of complete satisfaction. Discovering the single most important thing at the moment in an individual's life and then working on it to bring it to fruitfulness will require a certain amount of passion to make it a success. But in doing so, there is a certain amount of new vitality both in mind and in spirit that bring out the energy and zest required to see the endeavor through. Keeping as focused as possible is another way to find out what drives an individual. When there are fewer distractions around in the individual's life, the ability to search with a focused mind what the individual is passionate about can be very beneficial. A good motto in life is to do unto others what you would like done unto you. This very real desire has many far-reaching connotations. In trying to practice this motto, one would be more aware on one's own actions and how it affects others. In realizing no man is an island, people acknowledge the fact that in order to have harmony, other people's feelings and thoughts must be considered. This will foster better ties between individual and as a group, which in turn will create a harmonious and conducive environment. Showing a positive side is always a good thing, as nobody wants to be unpleasant to someone who is polite, gentle, and giving. These virtues, if practiced often enough, will eventually reflect back unto the individual and thus cause others to do likewise. Being able to connect with nature has many wonderful benefits both for the good of one's mental health and physical health. Nature is one of God's free gifts to humankind, and learning to appreciate it should be everyone's priority. However, sadly this is not so, as everyone is busy rushing around trying to keep their lives in order. When it comes to teens, it may not be as simple. To expect them to spend time with nature can be quite a challenge. However, encouraging them to take up an outdoor sport, engaging in seasonal projects that require the outdoor experience, or simply learning about the different naturally garnered foods, are just a few ways to entice them to be more connected to nature. Connecting spiritually has many benefits, both mental and physical. There are several ways an individual can connect with their own spirituality. One of them is through voluntary services. When one sets aside time to become a volunteer, one is actually learning to put another person's needs before oneself. This teaches the individual to be more giving and less selfish. Practicing sessions of meditation is also a common practice when trying to connect spiritually. Most people seek this style of quiet time activity to try and enhance their senses to be able to connect with their inner self. Praying is also another way to make the ever-evasive connection with one's spirituality. If done often and consistently, praying can and will be an effective way of ensuring this connection. The peace and calmness one can derive from this will definitely benefit both body and mind. In order to live a healthy life both mentally and physically, one must learn to forgive. Forgiveness allows an individual to work through the hurts and bitterness experienced and to let go of all the negative elements. In embracing the act of forgiveness and moving on, the body and mind can then start to experience the peace, hope and joy that is the byproduct of forgiveness. A greater level of spiritual and physiological state of well-being can be attained. This level of release will also ensure the corresponding peace and joyous feelings to be abounded. Medically, stress levels are considerably lowered, as with blood pressures. There will also be less likely symptoms of depression, anxiety, and chronic pains. Though forgiveness is not an easy thing to do, however, it is not only vital but also possible to achieve. The process of forgiveness starts one step at a time. It is a committed act of consciously accepting the facts and moving away from the pain and rejections caused. The end desired product is the ability to gain the positive elements of compassion and understanding. Endorphins is popularly associated with the exhilaration feelings brought on by pain, danger, or certain forms of stress. These endorphins work as sedative receptors to help to suppress pain or discomfort both in body and mind. A good exercise regimen is also another way to release endorphins. Some athletes are able to push themselves to higher limits because of the release of the endorphins during the exercise regimens. These endorphins dull the pain that would otherwise be felt. It should be noted that endorphins are not only released through an exercise regimen but can be released through other activities too. These may include eating spicy food or achieving an orgasm during a sexual act. Both very different scenarios, but both are capable of producing the same amounts of endorphins to create a state of pleasure. Thus, the practice of seeking some level of pleasure through the release of endorphin is pretty common, as it does not require unusual or difficult processes. Generally, people like being around other happy people, thus when one is constantly sad or down, there is a very real possibility that the percentage of people willing to be around are almost nil. There is already a lot of stress and strife in the world, so adding to it by being in a constant state of sadness will not only be damaging but is also quite unhealthy.